Hello, it's Reese here from the British basketball scene, and you might be wondering, Reese, sweet haircut, but also sweet t-shirt as well, because it's from alwaysballin.com. This t-shirt is a collaboration with alwaysballin.com and also the AMOS Bursary. The AMOS Bursary ensures that those with Afro-Caribbean descent excel past university, as it has been recently found in a study that black males earn $7,000 less than their white counterparts. £4 from each t-shirt sold will be going to the AMOS Bursary, so go down and check the link in the description down below to buy this t-shirt and also check out what the AMOS Bursary is about. Let's support the campaign that is bigger than basketball. Hello and welcome back to the British basketball scene. I'm your host Reese, as always, and today I'm joined by a very, very special guest, the one and only Bristol Flyer, Raphell Thomas-Edwards. Thank you so much for joining me here.
I know. I appreciate you letting me on the show.
So how's your lockdown been so far? I mean, we're kind of coming to the end of it now, but like, have you had a pretty productive lockdown so far?
I mean, it's been so long. I've been in different stages. I mean, at first, it was kind of a shock. Obviously, no one's been through anything like this before, so you don't really know how to handle it. And it's a big thing for basketball being indoors and that being shut down. And it's just kind of been an adjustment. So I had stages of like just sitting aside, not doing anything, and a stage where I was running a lot and I'm doing a lot of working out, and kind of in between. And now I'm just kind of getting back into my routine, which I usually do before getting into the basketball season. So I guess I'm used to it now.
So you say different stages. I know some days you just kind of want just like I can't be bothered to get out of bed, but I know I've got to do stuff. So have you picked up any new hobbies in lockdown, or have you just like started to focus on the new season?
I mean, so I do a lot of graphic design.
Okay, that's
Like
pretty
I was
cool.
saying at the beginning of lockdown, we weren't allowed to do anything.
Yeah.
So it's always interested me. I kind of did it when I was in university, so I wanted to pick that up. So I've been kind of doing that sort of stuff on the side. But I mean, other than that, I'm still trying to see if I can make sure that I don't like kind of veer too far away from playing basketball.
That's pretty cool. I mean, graphic design can be something that you venture in, maybe towards the end of your like career and sort of venture into that. So, have you thought about like doing that and becoming like an entrepreneur after you finish basketball?
Yeah. So my story's a little weird. Like I took a 3 year break in between like playing in university and like playing professionally, and then in between that time, I set up my own basketball training program in America with one of my teammates, and we've been running that for I think this is coming up to year 6.
Wow.
So like I'm trying to make sure I put as much emphasis into that as I do basketball. And then once my basketball career is like coming to an end, I mean that's what my focus is most likely going to be.
Definitely, and with the amount of basketball that's going in right now, like have you managed to catch any of the NBA return at all, or?
Yeah, for sure. So like I've been trying to watch a lot of games. I've been watching a lot of games with my coach, my personal games,
Yeah.
and just to try and get a better understanding. And definitely the fact that I'm just becoming a smarter basketball player, I can
Yeah.
see the game differently. So watching the NBA games and like seeing some of the highlights, I mean the full games is just it's amazing to see like sort of stuff what I've missed or what sort of stuff I've gained once I can see it through the eyes of like a coach.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've definitely been watching them.
Are you rooting for anyone in particular, like going into the NBA playoffs, or are you just kind of like rooting for like different?
I don't have a team, but I'm actually like anti-LeBron. So I think he's the greatest player like playing currently. But
Yeah.
I would have preferred him to kind of stay with one team. So I
Yeah.
guess I'm rooting for Giannis. I want to see what he can do.
Okay.
I mean, I'm a fan of basketball, so it doesn't matter who wins. But
Yeah.
definitely, I would like to see how far Giannis can take it.
Do you think there are any like sleeper hits in the East, or like that can potentially topple the tower that is Giannis at the moment?
I mean, in terms of being able to play basketball as a team and like philosophies defensively and offensively. Like Toronto have
Yeah.
been surprising a couple of people. But I think in terms of both sides, I'd love to see Damian Lillard and the
Yeah.
Trailblazers like just come out of nowhere and just surprise people, West or East. Like I think he's amazing. I was just watching the game actually. He just scored like 60.
Yeah.
And his interview, he was just talking about how he just wants to win. He didn't come in here for nothing. Like
Yeah, he dropped 60. He is amazing. I mean, when Dame's cooking, no wonder we got a heat wave over here. So
Right.
he is
Yeah, that's crazy, right?
he is on another level. And going into the next season, you say you're working hard, training hard, and working to improve your game. You've actually re-signed a 1-year deal with the Bristol Flyers. So how did that deal come about? And I guess you have some kind of unfinished business going into next year.
Yeah. So last year was my first year in the BBL. I don't really have a lot of comparison, but I know that the year that I spent, I love the organization. I love everything about the fans, like the setup, and the city of Bristol is like amazing. So I just want to kind of run it back. We kind of got cut short. So in terms of unfinished business, we didn't even get to finish what we were doing to see how far we could have gone. So I just want to come back, learn a lot from Coach Andreas, who's coaching at Bristol for years,
Yeah.
and then see where I can take them and then take my own personal career.
Yeah, definitely. So with this, with this little podcast series that I'd like to do, I like to, take it back to where it all began for your career. So, what were you? So you were born in Leicester, right?
Yeah. I'm originally from Leicester.
Yes. Did you grow up around that area as well?
Born and raised.
Yeah. So what were the not conditions, but what was it like growing up in Leicester?
Um. Well, in terms of basketball, I know that my coach was Carl Brown, and I guess he's well known in England. He played in America, so I mean, there was always some kind of bar set for me and my teammates. And I mean, I loved playing basketball. I played basketball like every single day.
Yeah.
It's a little different being in the East Midlands or the middle of England because I eventually went to Barking Abbey in London, and like
Okay.
seeing kind of the way basketball players are treated in London compared to the Midlands is like different. But I mean, I guess that's just England itself. But I mean, that's just the journey that I've been on.
Yeah, I mean the Midlands is definitely more orientated towards football, for sure. Like London is very diverse when it comes to sports. Like a lot, certain areas of the UK, like you got like the Southwest, which is kind of like rugby orientated, and the Midlands is definitely football, and up top maybe like cricket. So, but like London, you do get a lot of culture that's from America. I guess that's where like maybe you saw the comparisons from like yourself being treated from maybe how you would be in America type situation.
I know that when I was playing, it's a little different from how it is now because I came back from coming playing in college, and basketball has increased. Like everybody's playing it. Like there's EABL, which is like the universities and colleges. They have their stuff. But when I was coming up, no, there wasn't a lot of that. Like I guess it was just starting. And I guess it will progress, and I'm loving the fact that it's progressing. I mean, it's not just the Midlands; it's England in itself. Like so, American culture and then English culture is a little different. Like football, netball, rugby, those sort of sports are like ingrained in the culture of the country, and I feel like it's slowly creeping in. So, I mean, hopefully in the future I'll be able to say like, in my day, like we didn't really have this, but like now it's a lot better.
You don't want to be known for the guy in the care home like, back in my day.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, hopefully it doesn't take that long. Hopefully I'm still playing while it's kind of ingrained.
I mean, technically, like when say if it does have a massive boom period, you could be like, oh, I mean, I was part of the first like sort of generation. Yeah, you were in the foundations of the BBL's like resurgence.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. For me, I mean, for me to say that it would be kind of taken away from everything else that's been done. But yeah, 100% right. I'd love to be one of the guys generationally that kind of helped the BBL get back to where it should be.
So, what were your like first kind of memories of basketball? Like picking up a basketball for the first time, or watching basketball for the first time? What was your first in to the world of basketball?
Well, I'm 6'6", so like I happened to be playing at school, and this guy came to I think it was I can't remember the exact situation. Like it was a while ago. I think I was like in year 2. He came and he brought like a basketball hoop with him, and he just kind of encouraged people to start playing basketball. And then from there, like me and my friends wanted to play. So I remember being in year 7, and I was on the bus with a basketball. Again, I was probably like 6'3"
Wow.
in year 7. So one of the coaches in the area asked if I like was on a team, and then he just kind of invited me to play for Leicester Warriors, which is the National League team. Actually, he invited me to play for the youth games team, which is like a team within Leicester. And I went to the trials, didn't make it because I had no formal basketball training. And then from there, I just wanted to play all the time. I practiced as much as I could. And then I made the National League team. And then from there, like, I mean, I took a bunch of steps between there and like the BBL.
So were you kind of like always one of the taller kids growing up then?
Yeah, sure. Sure.
So you always have like one friend that's always like taller than the rest.
Yeah, that was me. I was taller than everybody. I feel like I've been this height since I was like 11.
I mean, yeah, I wish I was that tall from the age of 11. I think I was maybe just hitting 5 foot at that stage. So you know, were you able to play in high school then?
So like, are we talking high school in America?
For like high school, like in the UK, like you know, year
Yeah,
7
so
onwards for school.
I played secondary school. We didn't have a basketball team, but because me and my friends played, we spoke to the PE teacher and convinced them to like have a team. So essentially, we like coached ourselves. Which, looking back, like it was exciting, but it wasn't the most like productive thing.
Yeah.
So then we played that for a year, and then from there I went to, like I said, Barking Abbey, which is in London. I went there for a year, and I came back because my my coach Carl Brown, like I was saying, he was heading a kind of academy in Leicester, so I went there for a year, and then at the age of 18, I believe, I went to America. And I mean, I played Division 1 for 2 years, and I played Division 2 for 2 years.
Yeah, and you know, you mentioned going into the Leicester Academy. What was it like, you know, building your like, you know, the foundations for what you did eventually become when you know, got to the point of making that decision to go to America? What was it like playing under that system in Leicester?
Um, the biggest thing for me was like, again, I'm going to compare it from London to Leicester. Like, I like the fact that I was around like people that I've grown up with, and it was kind of staying in that environment and making sure that like I was around people that knew exactly who I am and like what my goals kind of were. So like it was a great time. I know that anytime anybody puts as much effort into basketball, like to help kids, like it's amazing for those kids. So like being able to go through numerous programs where I can kind of see the weaknesses and strengths from both sides and learning from both of them, I feel like it's been an amazing time.
And then from there, you kind of build up your, you know, you elevate your game, and eventually get the call up for the under-16 GB team. What was that like? You know, getting that call up for, you know, for that team.
Um, I remember going to the first trial and thinking like, there's no way, like I'm not making this team. Like, I'm just gonna go as hard as I can, and it was nerve wracking because like at the under 16s, I know that most of the team had been together for at least a year already. So I kind of like weaseled my way into the final team. So it was more about kind of understanding what I needed to do to kind of play at that level. And I feel like still at that age, I didn't really understand, but like I understood enough, obviously, to kind of get into that team. But it's definitely an experience that I will remember for the rest of my life.
Yeah, for sure. And you make, you know, potentially making a bunch of friends, and one of those being that, you know, one that you met that you actually currently play with, and that's Lewis Champion. What was it like, you know, playing with him back in the day, and like, you know, sort of the starting of the chemistry there?
With all the guys, it's like coming from a step where certain guys are good and like certain guys don't really take it as seriously, to then go up to a level where everybody's taking it, if not the same, if not more, like the same as you. Like it's an amazing experience. So like, I mean, Lewis is a great guy. He's hilarious. He's one of the reasons I came to Bristol as well. So I mean, it's just been years of great people and being around the English system.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you know, as you do mention, you go to America. What was it? You know, what was the decision behind going and playing it? You know, in the States.
I mean, like I said, back in when I was playing, like there was no other options that I could currently like comprehend. I guess. I mean, I probably could have tried to go BBL or tried to go to university in England, but like I was just single minded. Like, yeah, I need to go to America. Like that's the next logical step for me to play. So I guess it was. I've explained it before, like to somebody else when I talk about it. It's usually like when I was at this level, I felt like I was like the best in the country for my age, and I was like kind of disillusioned of my level of basketball, and then going there and then being thrown in the fire with guys that like have been playing since they were like super young at like a competitive level. Like I felt like initially it was like what is going on? This is crazy, but over the time it allowed me to kind of expand my knowledge of basketball and expand where I need to go, and like it's pushed me to just being a better basketball player. I know the first time I came back from America, I had so much confidence because I just felt like I was better than everybody. That my level of play was probably better for the first couple of days than it actually was. But I mean, it's always a great experience to go and see new things and new kind of ways of playing basketball.
Yeah, and you decide that you want to go to probably one of the more, you know, the bigger basketball cities and states in America, and that's New York City. You go and play with the Buffalo Bulls. What was it like playing around that team? You know, for your first ever kind of sort of pushing the boat towards professional level.
Yeah, so Buffalo's a freezing cold place. Like in the winter, it's the snow is probably about a couple inches, but
Wow.
no, it was crazy. Like the school was, I think it was 25,000. Like, and being from England, like I don't even remember 100 people being at a game when I was like below the age of 18,
Mm.
and then going there and seeing like thousands of fans and people knowing you because you play basketball. Like it was weird to me for my teammates to
Mm.
feel like they were like, I'm not famous. Famous is a word. Famous is they like played the sport because of the other stuff that came with it. And then being from England, I played the sport to play the sport because that other stuff just didn't come with it in England. So I kind of appreciated it more. But I mean, like New York is, uh, New York State is huge. So like Buffalo is probably different from a bunch of other cities. But I mean, the city of Buffalo is it's a great place to be. Besides the weather, like, I can't stress how much snow there was. But I mean, anywhere in America, I'm sure it's an incredible place.
And you spend 2 years, with the Buffalo Bulls, and then you make the jump to Pennsylvania, where you go and play in Gannon Uni for 2 years as well. What was the jump like from the Bulls going playing in Pennsylvania?
So I mean, first I've been from England. Like you just kind of see Division One. Okay, let's go Division One, and then like okay, Division Two is probably like underneath it, and then like Division Three, and then there's like NAIA and like JUCOs and so on and so forth. But once I was making my decision to go to D2, I felt like, oh man, this is gonna be a breeze. Like it's gonna be a completely different level. Like it's gonna be way easier than Division One. But then I go to the team, and I remember I didn't start. There's a couple of games I played like 3 minutes, and then I really had to like focus in and kind of change up how I played and kind of learn even more stuff just to get on the court because my team. So the top Division Two teams could probably beat out the bottom Division One teams. So like my team was a pretty successful and it's a pretty hard place to play in terms
Yeah.
of philosophies. The coach is a great coach. I mean, I speak to him a lot, and it wasn't as easy as I thought it was going to be. And I'm trying to fully express the fact that going from Division One to Division Two, like in my head, was completely different to what it actually was. Like I went down and I played just as hard as a team, and I played just as much basketball as I did at Division One, and it was I guess it was beneficial for my career because I am where I am. So
Definitely. And you finish your 4 year stint in America, and you decide that you're going to come back to the UK. Was it basically inevitable that you were going to play for the Leicester Warriors when you came back for for at a semi-pro level in the National Basketball League?
So like when I was in college, I broke my wrist in my senior year, and I had to get surgery. So I hadn't played for about 3 years before I came back, and I knew I was coming back in August of that year. And I spoke to Carl Brown, the coach of Leicester Warriors, and said, "Look, when I come back in December, like, is there anywhere I can play?" He was like, "Yeah, sure. Like, you've grown up through the system. Of course you can play." So I kind of spent 2 months kind of running, trying to shake a bit of rust off, and then I came back and played. And I was only supposed to play for like 3 games, but I mean, once you get back into something you love, like, it's hard to not like continue to do it. So I mean, it was a great thing. I mean, I don't think it was inevitable for me to play for them, but if I was going to play for anybody, like, that was the team that I was going to kind of start my journey again with.
Yeah, I guess like coming back from the US, it's kind of nice to like come back and have that sort of like home feel, like family feel. Like you can play in front of all the people that you grew up with as well. Like I think that's quite a comfortable way to ease back into the English basketball system.
Definitely, like I was saying, Carl, he knew me, he knew how I played already, so I didn't really have to prove anything to anybody. Like, if I was to just join a coach who kind of see me on tape, and he allowed me to kind of do some things to kind of build my confidence in terms of maybe had the ball in my hands a lot more than I would have, like, if I was to play for anybody else. And it was a necessary step in terms of doing what I had to do.
And from that, you get the pro offer in the BBL from the Bristol Flyers. What did that mean to get that call up? To be like, okay, I'm a professional now.
So from the summer, like, when I didn't finish the season at Division One, and I was still unsure if I wanted to play, because like I hadn't had the thought, like I hadn't had the conversation, I guess, with myself, like, to decide if I wanted to or not. But then when I really decided, okay, like, I want to play, I wanted to stay in the country just because I've been away from England for so long, and the fact that Bristol offered me, and then, I mean, in hindsight, I can say, oh, it was a great decision. But like, at that time, I was like, okay, is this the right decision for me? And the fact that I had the choice to make was like, it was relieving in the summer, because as a professional player, or as a rookie, I guess, you're just kind of looking for that first one, like when you get your foot in the door, and then you can see like what you've done, and then you can kind of progress from there. But that first one is, I guess, the most important one.
Yeah, and quite the successful season as well. Like I think, what was the deciding factor of you signing? Was it the fact that you kind of knew who like you were getting involved with? And you do mention that you have played with Lewis Champion before. Was that kind of like the tipping over point for you signing for Bristol?
Yeah, like Lewis was a big part of it, because, like you said, I played with him before. I didn't really want to try and go somewhere, especially in my first year, and like,
Yeah.
try and figure everything out. So at least I knew I had that. And talking to Coach Andreas, like, he showed me that he wanted me to play there. Which I'm sure every coach is going to make it sound like he wants me to be there, but he showed me that he wanted me to be there. And then the way he was talking about their play style, and I watched the film, and like, felt like I was going to be a good fit. I mean, I feel like it was a good choice. So that
Yeah,
was
absolutely, definitely.
deciding factor.
And what is it like playing under Coach Andreas? He's been there for a while. So what's his system like, and like what's it? Especially like in training, is it like very competitive? Is he very driven in what he wants to do?
Yeah, I mean, with any coach, I'm sure they have their philosophies, and he's very. Um, I feel like we match, me and Coach Andreas, because the things I like in terms of the tactical side, I feel like that those are his strengths. And I try and work as hard as I can. So like, he doesn't have to worry about trying to push me to work hard. So I feel like it's like I said, a great match. And then in practice, it's always competitive. Like at this level, nobody wants to be kind of the worst player. So everybody's gonna bring it every single day, like, kind of push, because like at the junior levels, it's got, all right, okay, I want my playing time. But at the professional level, it's like, all right, like, if you're beating me and you're playing more than me, I know next season, like, there's money that is going to be involved. So it's in the back of your head. It's not something that anybody would discuss, but it's definitely something that kind of pushes you to work a little bit harder.
And with your first season comes, I mean, pretty much almost success straight away. Potentially one of your biggest games of your career so far, and that's going to, going to Birmingham and playing in the BBL Cup final. What was that like? Going into the game against the Worcester Wolves.
By that time we played them 3 times. Like, I was ready to go. I've been thinking about the game for weeks. It was a great experience. Like, before the basketball, like the atmosphere was amazing. Like, having people that I'd want to have seen me play, like, come and watch me play on such a big stage in my home country is like amazing. Because even when I was playing for GBs when I was a youth player, like the fans weren't as much as it were for the final game. So no, it was a great thing. I wish could have won. Like, for me, like, getting there isn't as important as winning it. So, like, that's again one of the reasons, like, I want to come back. And it wasn't easy. It wasn't an easy feat to get there. So I don't want to feel like I'm discrediting the journey of getting there. But we definitely wanted to, like, kind of come out of there with a different result. So I mean, it was a great experience, and it's something that will always stick with me. But I want to make sure that I can try and get another one of those, and then hopefully come out on a different side of it.
Definitely, and like when you look at a game, say if it's either from a neutral fan or maybe it's the Worcester fans, like you're so caught up in the glory of the win, and you don't actually realise what it's like for the team that came up short. What was the dressing room like after the game?
Oh, well, before the dressing room, we're standing there, and, like, there's confetti flying everywhere, like, just hitting us in the face. Like, you had to
Oh,
watch the other team kind of accept these awards, and then you just think, like, dang, like, I wish I just had, like, a little bit more time, or made this shot, or, like, I could have made this play. But I mean, going back into the locker room, like any coach or any team would do, like, we wanted to talk about the fact that we actually got there, and, like, kind of congratulate ourselves for that, but not to forget that we did lose. So, like, don't get don't forget this moment and how you feel in this moment, and kind of use that to kind of drive you. I know we got little plaques. There's like a runner-up plaque, and, like, me personally, it's not something that I like to have as a runner-up. So I mean, just that is a symbol that we have to push, like, a little bit harder. So, like, hopefully you can make it there again, and then we can have the discussion about, like, who's going to win, how we feel after the win.
yeah, and you've got such an emotive captain in Daniel Adozi. What's he like as a captain, like bringing you into the team?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, he's full of energy. Like, Daniel does, he's he's a seasoned vet. Like, I think this is his 6th season now,
Yeah.
and he always has something positive to say, which is definitely something that can help at times when you miss a shot, and so on and so forth. So, like, I know he's had a lot of success personally, like, through basketball. So it's always encouraging to hear someone like that kind of speak to you in a certain way. So I mean, I'm looking forward to playing with him again.
Yeah, and what better way to round off like sort of the next year or going into the next year than playing under a guy that is basically driven to win constantly. He's a guy that's quite experienced in the British game, and he's so emotive and he's so passionate about the game. He gives off a lot of positive vibes, doesn't he? So
Yeah,
well, yeah, he's a fan. I mean, I had him on this the show before, and he's
okay.
just the passion, and also his story is really incredible as well. So I guess his personal stuff helps him
Mhm.
on the court as well. And what has the team been like? Well, before the unfortunate break from the season.
Um, I mean, personally, I mean, everyone on the team from last year, like, we gelled so well. Unfortunately, like, everyone's on a 1-year contract. So the people that are coming back, great. People that are, like, we're still trying to figure out if they're coming back or not. Like, it was a pleasure to play with them. And then I'm just, like I said, I'm ready to kind of be a part of the new core that's kind of on the team now. Because last year I was a rookie, and this year I want to see if I can kind of bring everyone together, and then help them, help me help them to like do other things. So that would be a great thing. Like, unfortunately, we did have to break up, but we'll be back with him soon. I mean, I stay in contact with all the guys. So when we come back together, like physically, I know it'll be just the same as when we left off.
Definitely, and there's definitely some unfinished business with the BBL season and coming into next season. You were so close to like pushing like top four, and it was really it was back and forth battle, especially with Worcester. I think you guys played like each other like what was it like 4 or 5 times that year?
Too much, too many.
But yeah, so going into a new a segment that I brought, I think it's like twice now. Introduced it with your teammate from last season, Lewis Champion, and it's a segment that I like to bring in to see like to get you thinking really. So this is the Thomas-Edwards starting 5. So what? So you play the 3 of the 4. What would you say is your preferred position?
Depends who I'm playing with. I mean, we'll say the 3. We'll say the 3.
So you're the shooting the small forward. Sorry.
Yeah.
So you have to pick the point guard, the shooting guard, the power forward, the center, and also to top it off, the head coach. This can be either any players that you've played with, or in fact like fantasy players that have played in the NBA.
Oh, fantasy played in the NBA. I can play with anybody.
You can play with anybody that you want. So let's start with the point guard position.
I can play with anybody. I'm gonna keep it like in house. I'm gonna say I'd like to play with Lewis Champion again, just because we have that kind of history. I know there's a lot of point guards I play with, and if they're listening to this, no disrespect to them, but I would love to play with Lewis again, just because of the way we connect in terms of not just basketball, but like just in general. At the 2 spot, who you picking at the 2? I feel so because I could pick the best players ever, or I could feel like I could pick a team that I could work with as a team, and then we could do some things and probably surprise a lot of people. So I'm gonna pick my best friend Elliot Sentence. He played it for Solent last year, and he did go well. I'll have me at the 3. 4 spots. I'm like I said, I'm going to keep it in house again. I'm going to say Marcus Del Pesh at the 4. Yeah. I mean, I feel like this season, he's going to turn some heads, and then at the 5, you have to go with the big man himself. Like, if we're going to keep it in house, I'm gonna keep it with Daniel Adozie, and I feel like maybe, I mean, discussion wise, there's tons and tons of players that are better than all 5 of us. But I feel like in terms of chemistry, I feel like we could do some things to, like I said before, turn some heads and have a great season with those 5. And then because I've been going back and forth with this guy, and he has the strengths that I want to kind of add to my game, we're gonna go with Coach Andreas as a head coach. And I'm sure I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna read back into these interviews that you've had, and people are gonna be like, okay, we're gonna have this guy and this guy, and then that team is going to be way better. But that's the 5 I'm going to stick with.
I think comparing those players to sort of like the others, I don't even think Lewis even thought about any of the Flyers players. I think the last interview I did with Ali Fuller, I think he just straight went NBA, he went Magic Johnson and Kevin Durant. So I mean, it would be interesting. I definitely would the players that you've picked, yourself, you've all got chemistry with each other. So I think chemistry above anything is very important with a team. Would you say that's so?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's probably a ton of teams who have way better players than a ton of teams that have lesser ability players or lesser able players, but without chemistry. I know it's hard to kind of get that together. Because I know, what's an example I can think of? Duke. They had some of the best players, but in terms of chemistry, it wasn't that they lacked chemistry, but maybe experience and time together that wouldn't have allowed them to play at their peak performance. And you can say that about a bunch of NBA teams. these are like the top guys in the world. Like, how do you lose a game if you're like the top guys? And it's not always necessarily the best players. It's what the best players can do together, like the best team. So yeah, 100%.
Definitely. And so moving on from your 11 from your starting five and your head coach, what would you say has been the best advice that you have been given that you've taken forward in life?
Um, this is what it's called the inner game of tennis. And a couple of my friends have read it. I know one of my teammates from last year, he talks about it all the time, Josh Rogers.
Mm.
And one of the things is talking about staying kind of even keel when you make a mistake, or like staying focused, is that you shouldn't feel like anything is a good thing or a bad thing. Like it's just a thing. So as long as you focus on just doing that thing, then you'll be better for it. So for example, if I have a bad game and I get down on myself and it hurts me into the next game, I have to understand that it's just a game. Like I just played a game, and the next one is just an individual one. And then vice versa, if I have a great game, I have to understand that, okay, that game is done. Stay even keel and move on to the next one, and just try and build those kind of games and those possessions and those kind of bricks of a wall, if we were going to put it in that analogy, and just kind of be even keel with everything.
That is an amazing piece of advice, and just kind of move on from one thing to the next with not really making anything bother you too much. And speaking of advice, so here on the British basketball scene, we have magical powers, and we have teleported you back in time, and we present you with little 10-year-old Raphell Thomas-Edwards. What advice would you give to your 10-year-old self?
What advice would I give Thomas? I feel like I'd try to be more knowledgeable in the game of basketball, like tactics wise, so I can be more efficient with how I kind of get better. And then not just with basketball, actually with anything. Like if I'm going to do anything, instead of just kind of just rushing into it without thinking about it, let's do some research. Let's find the best people that can give you the best advice, and then kind of asking for advice, and then kind of learning from that and being able to kind of push myself a bit further. So instead of being at this level at the age of 27, I'm at like this level because I would have started earlier and I would have been more efficient with how I tried to get better.
Definitely, that's definitely some advice. I think with hindsight, I think hindsight pays a lot. It's like, oh, if I'd have done this, or if I'd, I could be way better than I am now. But I mean, it's still paying out for you. You're a professional. You've signed another year with Bristol. So that a lot of things to look forward to, especially with this Bristol team that have a lot of promise coming in. A lot of promise with another team. I'd like to just get your opinions on. I'm not sure if you've seen a lot of the signings that they have made, but they're looking very dangerous. What are your opinions on the London Lions at the minute?
I mean, I felt like I just looked at it. They've signed like a lot of guys. I know a lot of them actually, like playing with Chris Terrier, Kingsley when I was younger.
Oh.
I mean, I played with Ed Lucas here and there. I know they're going to be a very stacked team, talent-wise. But I mean, I can't physically or like in myself say that they have any better chance than any other team because we're going to play against them. And I feel like the best thing we can do from this side is to make sure that we try and kind of talk about or do what I was talking about earlier about having the chemistry that's going to beat them up. Because basketball, any given day, like any given night, like someone could just have a great team. But I do hope that they have like a lot of success in the Champions League.
Yeah.
That would be not just important for them, but important for like English basketball. So I mean, I wish them the best of luck in the Champions League. But when it comes to BBL, like it's business as usual.
Game on for the
Definitely.
London Lions. I mean, looking at the Champions League, they kind of have a disadvantage because they have a hectic schedule. They've got to travel backwards and forwards, and not only that, they've got to play every weekend against different teams. That could potentially give a lot of teams in the actual league a bit of an advantage.
Yeah. So I feel like what a smart team would do, which I'm sure they will do, is to rest certain guys in certain games. So that they'll have essentially two teams. So one team will play more Champions League, and then one team will play more BBL. And then I know it's going to be a struggle for them. And like I said, hopefully they get through it, because the teams are playing, their operating budget is probably way higher than London Lions. So I can only imagine like what these guys are getting paid. So I mean, the schedule is kind of, I don't really feel like it's based around the BBL. So like we'll see. Like I feel like that, yeah, 100% is going to be an advantage for the other teams, because we're not going to have to pay like, I don't know, 50 plus games if everything goes well. But I mean, like I said, any given night, so they could be dog tired. They could have had 4 games before, like, in that week, and if they played it well when anybody else plays them, like it's game on.
Definitely. So, getting towards the end of this interview, I'd like to, you have mentioned this before, and that is something that you've set up over in America with one of your friends, and that's the academy, A&K basketball. Sorry. So, just talk a bit about that and what like your sort of aims for that program are.
Well, one of the reasons I started it is because of how I grew up. Like, I wanted to make sure that, like I said, if I had a 10-year-old, like I had the advice to give to these 10-year-olds and like these kids that want to get better. Like I try and do my best to, I say me, we try and do my best, like me and my business partner and everybody that works within the program to kind of research and make sure that we understand everything that's being trained. And my hopes for it is to grow it to a level where I can then connect it to something in England. So one of the hardest things for me was getting exposure in America. Like, because there's no direct connection, like it's hard to go from England to then try and get to a school in America. And there's probably players in England that are way better than players playing at certain levels, so who haven't been given the opportunity in England. So it'd be growing it in America to a point where it's like, I wouldn't say recognizable, because I mean, I'd like to believe in the area it's pretty recognizable, but it's more substantial and more like, I don't know. I mean, it's a couple more years, so a bit bigger, so that I can connect it to England and like send kids to the program. And I know that this last year we started an AU team before it got cut off because of COVID. So I mean, it's just about growing it and then just try to grow something on that side again, so I can bring it back to England basketball.
Well, Raphell, thank you so much for being here on the British basketball scene. Thank you so much for joining me here. So if you like to see Raphell play, go and check out all the Bristol Flyers stuff. I'll leave the links to social media down below, and also I'll leave the link to the A&K basketball for those that want to check it out and see what they can do. When you just revealed that the camp is now opening up in August.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, it was it was a long time away from it. So yeah, 100%. I'm glad to be back, and hopefully I can fastly get back on the court now. So that's the next step.
Definitely. We'll look forward to seeing you play on the court. I look forward to seeing you down at the University of Worcester Arena when you come and play Worcester for the 20th time.
I'll be ready.
I can't wait to see you down there. The one and only Raphell Thomas-Edwards.
Thanks.